Who are the best support heroes and what is required from one in the current meta? What should you be looking for when you choose to summon one? Well, I've ranked 126 heroes today. We're gonna go over all of them. This is one of the most powerful archetypes in the game right now. But I need to know, who's your favorite support to use? Leave it in the comments, I'd love to hear it. All right, before we really dive in, we're gonna look at F tier and the support heroes of the past. All of these are power crept by sometimes just a skill, but they served us well, and hats off to you. I love all of you, and support units have been one of my favorite things. Mailcorn in particular. Buddy, we had some good times. Now, these can still be used, as many of you have proven, but they oftentimes take a very specific movement type or stat base, something like that, to set them apart. Still, they can be used, it's just difficult now. And if you're a Jagan fan, good luck to you. Here's how we're gonna be ranking these, and the basic idea is it's not enough to be a good support. Role compression has reached a state that if a unit doesn't do multiple things very well, then they drop. So we've got the first thing, support uniqueness. Now, this is a unique combination of skills. Oftentimes the individual ones are not unique themselves, but the way they're put together is what sets the unit apart. And then other times they just have a crazy unique skill that no one else has. The second is their combat prowess, and this could be a couple different things. Sometimes this is how well a unit tanks, or how well it defends against other units, or how well it attacks. Most likely, they are a nuke, because that is the easiest thing for a support hero to be. We're gonna go over some different combinations there. The biggest thing is, how well do they counter meta threats? Both of these we have on a scale from 1 to 20 to make sure we're really capturing the support units here. I have weighted this as 60% towards support and 40% towards combat. But let's get into this. From here on out, all of these units are in order. And E tier, all of these have something unique about them that can help you. The thing is, they need a lot of investment to really perform. If we want to look at a couple examples, the first one we want to look at is Lucina. And the fact that she has that swap skill that lets you expand your action economy is incredible. And she can be built upon because of that. But even then, the modes she is good on is limited. You really want to look at her only as a summoner duels unit. Everywhere else, it's going to take a whole lot of investment to keep her going. That's not to say you can't do it. And the fact that she has something that unique is good, but we still have a combat rating of 4, which means she's not going to hit very hard, and a support rating of 7. Because even though we do have the swap, the thing that the swap gives you is not impactful enough to rank that higher. The other example I want to give here is Cornelia, and Cornelia has a semi-high support ranking, but a terrible combat rating. This unit just cannot kill things right now. In particular, healers don't have a whole lot of things that help them pierce. And because damage reduction is so prevalent, it means this unit is limited. Now, have I seen defenses that use Cornelia to great effect? Yes. The other difficult thing though with her support is we're starting to see a lot more NCD in preference weapons, and I am guessing, and I didn't rank her on this, but I'm guessing we're gonna see that in a drive sooner or later. So fans of these units, I understand these all can be used very well. I have people that use each of these and enjoy them, but they struggle versus units like the next tier we're gonna see. Let's get started on D tier. All of these D tier units can be solid contributors, and the fact that they aren't as common means a lot of times they can have some unexpected surprises for the opponent, and that makes them better just in that, but they don't have the complete package. Oftentimes they're good at one thing, but not the other, and that is a detriment in, again, this role that has so many units that can do many things very well. A classic case that I want to show you here is Medius. Medius's combat is terrible at a 2 here. But the thing is, his support is so unique that people still have to use him. That's what gives him that 11 right there. He's the only unit that can counter the Bolt Tower. Because of that, that ranks him a little higher here. But again, you are using him in spite of his combat prowess. Like, he is not going to help you a whole lot in that area, and he's only going to give you one thing. Another example is George, who actually has fairly decent support with a lot of different things, and in particular that Crux skill I think is very, very valuable. But his combat is just not great. He doesn't have a whole lot to support his own combat. That takes him from a mediocre unit down to a, well, D tier unit. Now, can you still use George? Absolutely, but you're going to struggle if you have to kill something with him. It means that other units on your team have to make up for that. The other units in this group follow about the same suit. Milla can isolate dancers, which is fantastic. Elamine has false start, and that's incredible. The Eloids, I mean, bonus doubler is still good, it just we have things that are better right now. But what does it really take to get into C tier from here? Let's find out. This is where we really get into the meat of things. Now, I didn't have time to look at all of these heroes. Past this tier, I look at them individually, but there are some really solid contributors in this batch. These are units that you can have a lot of fun, and you can build them up with confidence that they are going to have a specific role on your team that no one else can do. It's fantastic. Let's look, for example, at Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper has a support of 13 because it is so incredible that he stops warping, which is just everywhere. The issue is his combat, and it's what really drives him down. At a 4, this unit just kills absolutely nothing. People still find room for this unit because 13 is fairly good on support, and how many things he stops is just, it's very good. What you'll find with Gatekeeper is the smaller the team is, the harder it is to get him on that team. The difference we can really look at is Summoner Duels versus Aether Raids. Even on Aether Raids defense, you have a whole lot of different players, 7 total units, where it's easier to get him slotted in because of the things he can stop. When you switch over to something like Summoner Duels, it is much harder, where on a 5-person Summoner Duels team, this is much harder to fit him in because, again, each one of those units has to do a number of different things. You can see this play out with Garrick, who I have ranked as one of the better support rankings in the game. 15 out of 20 is very high. This unit does a ton of things with visible buffs and ignoring debuffs and all of this at a distance. I mean, this unit is fantastic for any sort of player phase teams that you have, as well as some enemy phase as well. The thing is, if you need him to do anything else, then you're in trouble. He can take out some very weak nukes that are just sitting around, but you're gonna have trouble actually getting combat out of him other than that. My top unit in this tier is Tina, and again, it is so hard for staff units to really get killing power right now. That's why I have her ranked as low as a 10. One of the things that helps her is all of the bonuses that she's inhaling from the other team. Support-wise, though, a 13 is very good, and again, this is a very unique unit that can do things that no one else can. Because of that, you can confuse the heck out of the enemy, and she becomes a very valuable tool depending on the team you have. And that's kind of the theme of this. Depending on the team, these can be incredibly valuable units or not valuable at all. These units here don't really offer role compression, though, and that's what's critical about them. So here's where we sit right now. Here's what we've got. These are a lot of very good units. I mean, I have Duo Dagr, but I'm not gonna say that she is an amazing nuke. And most of the time I'm using her just for her Pathfinder ability, and I'm hoping she managed to get an additional kill past that. We're about to get into units where you start actually building teams around them, and for that we're gonna go individually. And this next hero is going to demonstrate both a nuking power and a support power that is way above anything that we've seen so far. Duo Thorr. I would have thought that this unit would be old by now, but she just keeps going. There's so many things that this weapon offers with exposure and stall, as well as getting additional cooldown as the turns go on. This means she is an excellent AoE nuke, which is valuable just consistently. What I will say is World Breaker is almost useless, but that's okay because we have such good C skills for flyers, things that make her even better supportive wise. And we have this duo skill that inflicts gravity and neutralizes any bonuses in a very large range. It makes her pretty good. Let's take a look though. So For combat and support, I've given her both a 12. This means she is fairly solid in both of those areas, and that kind of tracks with what you see. Right now, she is showing her age, but we still see her come in and out of the meta, and for different modes, I tend to use this unit a lot. So taking a deeper dive into Thorr, we've got combat of 12 and a support of 12. And the thing is, this makes this unit fairly good at both of these while not being completely elite. And that kind of defines this range here. What it means is the best friends to this unit are going to be nukes in general because it offers counterplay to any sort of tank, whether that be a raid boss or an omni tank that you have to go up against. The thing that I want to point out here, and I want to take this chance to talk about counterplay. And the difference here I want to talk about is Elamine versus Freyr, which was just a pure counter. We don't like those. We generally like for IS to give us some sort of counterplay like removing bonuses. For instance, this unit versus someone like Ike would help you take out Ike by taking away bonuses and other things that make that unit just crazy strong. But that alone is not going to let you take out Ike. That is the better way to go, and we hope IS does more of that as opposed to the Freyr route. Let's get to the next unit though. Pathfinder is just one of my absolute favorite things. I love the Dagrs in general, all of them. Now this weapon does a lot of decent damage, and I like it for that. There's a lot of good things about this, and there's a lot of things that make this unit a decent Gale Force initiator. Twin Sky Wing is really where it's at though, and giving this unit Pathfinder as well as the support partner is just critical. That is something that makes this unit very valuable. It makes this unit such that you don't have to waste a duo skill. That means you can use this unit in more places like Aether Rays, which a lot of times suppresses any kind of duo skills in general. This unit is a lot of fun to use and offers combat potential. If we're looking at the rankings here, I've got her ranked at 11 for combat, which is decent. It means she can hold up and can actually kill some units. And then we've got her as a 14 for support because I do really like the Pathfinder support in general. This unit is going to work best with units like Chrom because he can steal that Pathfinder effect and increase the range of your team even more. That's excellent. Any kind of hit and run teams with units like Kagero, and especially with long-range nukes like Duo Lyon and being able to get them out even further. The biggest thing that this is a piece in the range war. This is a piece trying to extend your range further than the opponents, and that is whether you are in Aether Raids, in Arena, or in Summoner Duels. Having more range than your opponent is very, very valuable, and this unit helps you do that. An excellent piece. I really enjoy this unit a lot. Next up, we have Bridal Catria, and this was the quintessential support unit for so long, and she has certainly fallen off, but still has some really good pieces to her. She has decent attack, but what you're really here for is triangle attack in general, although the orders portion is nice to this unit. Triangle attack is just so powerful even now. That's why you can still use this unit in places like Aether Raid's offense or on Summoner Duels. This is a very, very valuable skill. Brave hits in general will just always be good, much like AoEs. Let's look at her scoring now. I still have her support scored at a 15. I understand that we have a ton of things that counter her, including Mythic Lumera, who directly put Ruse onto Light Season, and we are probably not going to be able to use this unit as much on that side of things at all. But there are still so many other places you can use her, and again, the support is so good. Combat-wise, I gave her a 10. You can't outfit this unit to be decent. She just doesn't have a whole lot unless you consider the duo skill, which does help her out a bit. Her best friends will always be the infantry nukes. It helps them extend their range without getting too extended. And what I mean by that is on defense, oftentimes when you have calves, there is a thing you have to do where you have to make sure they don't get too far out of range. What this unit does with infantry units in general is try to keep them all clumped so that that triangle attack really takes effect. It's an amazing thing, and it is one of the reasons why cav nukes right now are outpacing infantry nukes. Because since we don't have Catria to really help us, since that ruse skill has become so prevalent, we now have to worry about range more. As far as counterplay, I mean any sort of tank. Like, being able to hit a tank twice is amazing. If you get to hit a tank 4 times, it's 4 times as amazing. This has always been a unit that has taken free-to-play, lower merged, lower invested units and helped them attack the higher level tanks. That's amazing, and it's one of the reasons we really liked when she was more prevalent, and I'm a little sad that she is faded off now. Definitely not gone, but faded off. Let's look at the next unit though. Citrinne is such an interesting unit, and there are a lot of interesting things about this weapon, including helping her get AoEs. The biggest thing is she is a bonus distributor. It's absolutely incredible that you can put a bonus on this unit, and even an archetype that would normally be able to get those, such as infantry skills being put on calves, she can distribute those across the team within 2 spaces. That's amazing, but let's look at her ranking quick. Now, as far as combat, again, she has that AoE support, and I put her at a 13. The only reason I have this unit as a 12 and not higher is because of how difficult the setup can be. This is not a unit that you can just plop down into any team. You have to really pay attention to where this unit goes. Now, her best friend, any unit that is able to give out bonuses and then hand them out to other people, that's amazing. And a lot of those are infantry nukes. So those are the units that are going to like her the most, as well as Catria. Catria works really well with this unit because of the things that Catria gives out to her, and because, again, the support that Catria provides, they're very synergistic. What this unit is going to give counterplay to is a lot of your tanks, and if you're looking at your Alears or your Seiðrs or your Altinas, this unit is going to help counter those a lot. This unit is a fantastic member on your team, and you're going to have a lot of fun using her. Duo Chrom is one of my favorites. I love this unit. Everything about this unit is fantastic, and I have mine and have used him in every single mode and still do to this day because they keep giving infantry units good skills. The thing is, the faux refresher status that this unit has is incredible, and giving units extra cooldown will never be bad. It's why I like the Myrrh ring so much. The grand strategy status and the foe cannot make a follow-up attack from the duo skill is really nice, but it's the change of fate that you're here for. And let's talk a little about this unit and where this unit's at. Now, this unit got a huge boost with Lagoo's friend. Combat at 13, I still think this unit hits fairly hard. The support is at a 12 because we have other faux refreshers that do offer a bit more, and we'll get into those as we go on. But the thing about this unit is his versatility, and you can use this unit with Pathfinder teams, or you can use this unit to get additional cooldown on units combined with Askr. You can use this unit on Gale Force teams to get additional cooldown there. There are just no limit of places where this unit is valuable. As far as counterplay goes, first off, we have, of course, the Omni tanks, and one of the big things there is adding extra cooldown to units really helps take them out. But the other thing I really want to point out is any sort of teams that are trying to do any sort of hit and run things on you, this unit can be very unpredictable in getting additional range to go hunt those units down, and that's either in Arena or in Aether Raids. This unit is a lot of fun to use and one of my favorites. Speaking of role compression, rearmed Lucina is here, and we're going to talk about combat and support, but the fact that she is also a rearmed unit is just incredible for how she performs. For treachery alone, Future Sight is amazing, and you add in the additional damage reduction and this unit can do a lot for your team. Let's look at the ratings though. So I've got this unit ranked as a 14 in combat and a 12 in support. Both of those are fairly solid skills, and you can see we're starting to see some green in there where we're seeing units excel in certain areas. We talked about this with Chrom, but the versatility is what really stands out. She can be used in any kind of team with, say, Chrom to help get units at a further range while also giving him additional bonuses. She can help in any kind of Pathfinder team with Dagr. She can also help a ton with any sort of Omni tank team. Treachery and adding additional killing power is really critical. A lot of the nukes right now are fairly bulky, and you have to be able to take them out or they're going to be able to hit you again. When we talk about counterplay, certainly we have those bulky nukes, but really what you're thinking of is that initial hit that you take on a savior. The treachery component of that can be something that helps push you over the top in some of these really bulky near saves and far saves. And I'm looking at you, Edelgard, and I have looked at sims with this unit in particular, and sometimes this unit can take you over the top and actually be able to take this unit on with your melee Gale Force unit. But things are starting to get interesting from there, and we're gonna go over Mythic Loki. This is a newer unit and has been all the buzz, and the biggest thing you're gonna look at for this unit is the fact that she takes away bonuses, and we've already seen this with Thorr. This doesn't require a duo button though, and that's critical. The difference here is the range. Having that in 3 rows and 3 columns is very different. Still, this unit can do a lot of good, and the additional gravity has gotten me more than once. This unit does a lot of good for the team, and this is where we start looking at debuffs as a form of support, because they do definitely help your team. If we're looking at the rankings, we've got a 13 for combat and a 13 for support. Both of those are solid, and I think this unit can do a lot of good. This is what we were talking about with her being fairly ranked high in the dark season, because there aren't a whole lot of things to compete with. When we look at the bigger picture as a support unit though, I think this is about the right place. There are a lot of fun things you can do with this unit. I would have rather had her on offense than on defense though, or they could have expanded her range on defense. This is a unit where obviously we're still finding where her role fits, but I think she's going to be a lot of fun for any of your cav line teams. The thing you're going to see with this unit is you're going to be able to start to funnel units over onto different sides of the map, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Who she offers counterplay towards is any unit that offers bonuses. I mean, your Askers, your Robins, and even Hortensia up here. Any of those that are giving units bonuses in general, this unit is going to be able to help against those. Again, this is counterplay, not counter specifically. Speaking of Robins though, we need to get into this next one. The thing that was said about Brave Robin from the beginning was, if only this unit was ranged, he would be incredibly powerful. Enter Young Robin. So this unit is kind of crazy. This unit does a whole lot, and tip the scales on a range unit feels different. There are a lot of different things that this unit does as a support, but what we see now is this unit can also perform very well as a nuke, and Fel War Tome is a very good weapon and can smash a lot of things. The fact that this unit has both tempo and piercing makes this unit very, very strong. Let's look at the rankings though. Now this kind of plays out as a combat unit. I have this unit ranked as a 15, and that's a very, very good score. What I can say is support as a 12. Again, Rally Spectrum is good. It's not the most broken skill in the game in general. When you combine that with the killing power for this unit though, it really makes a very nice package. Speaking of best friends for this unit, any of your nukes that are trying to get extra cooldown, that's amazing, particularly units that don't have slaying. And when you have units like Duo Micaiah, you need a little extra oomph. Since she doesn't come with slaying in her weapon, Rally Spectrum is going to give her 2 cooldown off of her special before the first hit, and that's kind of incredible. The other sneaky thing is this unit can help counter the Young Robin female. Hush Spectrum and Rally Spectrum cancel each other out and can help units like Duo Ike still proc their special. That's really something to keep in mind. And when we talk about counterplay, having this counterplay things like your Scowl skills is incredible, because Scowl is very, very powerful and prevalent in the meta right now. This is a really good unit. Next up, we have Legendary Robin, and I'm probably going to catch some flack for putting this unit ahead of Young Robin. We'll get to that in just a second, but I just have to say that Grand Strategy is very, very good still. A lot of this skill has been slept on because Sanaki came onto the meta and really did a number on anyone using Legendary Robin. As she fades out, this unit will come back hard and is already doing so. I have seen a lot of great things with this unit. This unit is a ton of fun and has some really good hitting power with some sneaky high stats. Looking at the rankings here, for combat we've got 13 and for support we've got 14. The difference I see with this Grand Strategy versus Rally Spectrum is I feel like Grand Strategy is more universally good because of how prevalent debuffs are right now, and I don't see that changing. I think debuffs are still going to keep coming, and I've seen folks get more out of stat stacking with Unity versus stat stacking with things like Rally Spectrum. So they're very close, don't yell at me too much, but I do have Grand Strategy above Rally Spectrum. Best friends, any sort of raid boss or Omni Tank loves this because, again, we get so many effects that are any sort of debuffs stat-wise. They are everywhere. This offers counterplay to your Yuns and your any of your shrines, all of those things. It is very good, and it's a lot of fun to have on your units. I'm still a big fan of Legendary Robin. Mythic Seiðr is next, and this is another unit that I just absolutely love. I have one merged up, and I think this unit is fantastic. Being able to end the turn of a unit on an opponent's team is fantastic and very, very powerful, as we've seen. As far as the ratings, for combat we have 13, and for support we have 14. Any team loves having this unit on their side. The thing is, because it's every other turn, this is less powerful than something like Duo Seiðr, obviously. Still though, for any sort of Gale Force team, for any hit and run team, for any tanking team in Aether Raids, this unit is incredible, as well as for Arena if you can take the score hit. This unit offers counterplay for whatever major nuke you have. If that's Dual Lyon, fantastic. If that's Igrene, fantastic. This unit helps take those units off the board, and that is incredibly powerful and will be for a very long time. It is crazy to me that I have Mythic Dagr over Mythic Seiðr. That is something that I never thought would happen. The biggest thing is Mythic Dagr is better in more modes, whereas on offense, Mythic Seiðr is definitely better than Dagr. I still think because this unit can be used in more modes, I have this unit ranked higher. But I mean, you have the Pathfinder effect that you can give to other people. You have a lot of hitting power. You have Null Follow-Up and Sun Twin Wing plus you have a Unity effect. This unit just does a ton and is a lot of fun to use. I was so happy with this unit's refine. As far as support goes, I've got this at a 14. Again, I think having your support partner get Pathfinder is incredibly valuable, and even on Aether Raid's offense for things like getting pots at the end of a game, it is really, really nice to have there. As far as combat goes, I've got this unit ranked as a 13. This unit can definitely kill things, but this is not going to be the tip of the spear. You're not going to go in and take out Brave Edelgard with this unit at all. As far as best friends, this is a lot of the same as Wind Dagr. You've got Chrom, because Chrom can take the effects that this unit has, including Hexblade if you have that equipped. You have any of the hit and run teams with Kagero, and of course you have any of your major nukes. Extending their range is just so valuable. That range war is really important in every single mode. If you can outrange your opponent, there are a lot of freedoms that allows you. But we're starting to get into some more interesting things, and I want to get to Veyle here. And Veyle, of course, has Resonant Blades, Resonant Shields, which is incredible, but handing out damage reduction and a scowl effect is everything you could possibly want as a tank. I am curious how we end up liking this unit and how far they go with the bonus stealing stuff, because the fact that some of this unit's things come in a drive may come in more handy than we think. But right now, having that drive within 2 spaces is what's holding this unit back. Looking at this unit as a 15 in support and a 13 in combat, that feels about right for me. This unit can definitely take things out, but this unit is not a tip of the spear type unit, much like Dagr. As far as late game goes, this unit is phenomenal, but you're not going to send this unit in first. It's just not going to be the way that goes unless you have an insanely invested one with a team supporting them with some sort of weird AoE build. I've seen you guys. I know who you are. But anyway, as far as support goes, Scowl is so good, and Resonant Blades, Shields, that combination is better than people give it credit for. As far as the best friends, enemy phase teams are what's really going to benefit from this unit. I have seen folks benefit on some sort of player phase team where you have this unit close enough to inflict that scowl effect on another unit, but I think that is more of a niche thing than an everyday thing. Most of the time you're going to want this as an enemy phase friend. As far as counterplay, any of your units that provide any kind of special cooldown, this unit helps against those. The other strange thing, we've seen a lot of defensive Ikes, and because of that, because of the having them on ARD and having them come down to attack you, it means then the scowl effect is very good against that Ike, unless of course they have Rally Spectrum. But keep that in mind, this is a great unit. If you're merging up this unit as a support on your Astra team, I think you're going to be very happy. Next up we have Mythic Lumera, and Mythic Lumera is a fantastic light season unit that honestly, for some reason, people are sleeping on. This is one of Ike's absolute best friends because Divine Vein Stone is not an effect that can be stolen. That is a terrain effect that can make Ike nearly invincible. It's really incredible, and if you have an Ike, you need to get this unit on your team because it makes him even stronger. I don't know, maybe you're winning without this unit and you don't care, but this unit does a lot of good, and she has additional things like stat buffs and null guard, which can be very, very good on a team. I've got the support rated as a 15 and the combat as a 12. This is a very good unit. The combat is a little bit lacking compared to some of her peers, just because honestly, it's not as usable as some of the other combat. This is not a tip of the spear unit. This unit can absorb some hits and can be a melee frontliner. I just don't value melee frontliners very well. The friends of this unit are going to be any sort of tank. Any tank really likes being next to this unit. This unit is phenomenal and is a lot of fun. This unit offers a lot of counterplay to AoEs is the big thing, and AoEs are such a huge part of the meta right now because they're one of the ways that you can try to take out Ike. It is really unfair that they just put this unit out in time to support Ike, and because of that, this unit has a lot of value right now. Askr, again, this is one of my favorite units. Askr is so versatile. Giving cooldown out to other units as well as Resonant Blades and Resonant Shields is incredibly powerful and is good in so many different modes and different ways. As far as the combat prowess of this unit, I mean, the fact that this unit can survive so much is incredible. The fact that you can put Lagu's Friend 4 on there, though, is even better. Like, that is something that is the best B skill for this unit. This unit absolutely loves that. You basically set this unit out there and it's a decoy while you run around and get pots at the end of a match, or just absolutely kill things if you need to. This unit is fantastic. As far as the rating goes, we're in kind of that spot where everything's at about the 12 and 15, but 15 support and 12 combat. The reason I do have this unit edged out slightly ahead of Lumera, even though the ratings are the same, is because this unit can run Gale Force. And that alone has an entirely new set of teams that this unit can be on as opposed to Lumera. Someday they'll give us Dragon Gale Force. That just hasn't happened yet. As far as friends of this unit, pick one. This unit does not make enemies, which is, I mean, it fits, like it's Askr. So, I mean, Alear, the older tanks love this unit. Your Gale Force units, your AoE units like Edelgard, your hit and run teams, all of them love having Askr on that team. It's incredible. As far as the counterplay goes, you're really looking for any kind of oomph for that initial tip of the spear to help you with. If you look at hit and run units, it's that extra cooldown to get lethality, for instance, and be able to take out the unit, as well as the extra speed and defense. If you're looking at AoE teams, it's that one extra cooldown to help you get through that brave Edelgard with your OG Edelgard. Those are the kind of things that really this unit helps against. Any kind of nuke, this unit also helps. In case you couldn't tell, just every unit likes Askr. Askr is great. Like, The only thing really holding this unit back is not just a premier nuke or a premier tank, but still, I mean, how do you complain about this unit? This unit is fantastic. We're in the range of units where they're just all very, very good. Legendary Alear is an interesting one to have up this high, but I just want to reiterate how important piercing is, and that's why I put this unit so high. In general, piercing, I put those skills up higher, but the other thing about this is it gives piercing to a support partner at a distance, and it's not a bonus. This is not something that can be stolen. That is really, really important in the meta right now. On top of that, this unit does an amazing job killing things. The additional Resonant Blades and Resonant Shields helps a ton as well. That's something that's a little bit slept on with this unit. I am a big fan of this unit, and I don't think people are giving her enough credit as a support. As far as the ratings go, I've got her as a 14 and a 14. Keep in mind, like I'm not like at a 20. I don't think this unit is the second coming or anything. But still, 14 is very solid. I think what this unit provides is amazing. I think the way this unit can help is either older units giving them piercing or any kind of nuke, like helping you as that tip of the spear just push you over the top. Units like Summer Edelgard that can now get piercing with both hits. Right now you have so many nukes that have, through either skills or through their preference weapon, some kind of damage reduction. This unit helps with that a ton. So for older units, this is incredible. Even for a lot of the newer units, this unit is incredible. I'm a big fan of Alear, and I don't think she gets enough credit. Fallen Lumera is one of those units that, depending on the hour you ask me, I have her bouncing between top of B and bottom of A. This is a very good unit and has all of the things that you had with regular Lumera, only this is a blessable unit in any mode you want. That's really good, and we've talked about how good Divine Vein Stone is. This unit has some additional things from regular Lumera, and that's really nice, so I do have her bumped a little bit higher. If we look at the ratings, this is very similar to Mythic Lumera, and we've got a 13 in combat, a 15 in support. A lot of the relationships are exactly the same. Like, tanks love this unit, period. The counterplay is for AoEs. The big difference is the fact that this unit gets piercing means that you get a little bit of a bump in the combat. And that looks like a little bit, like that is a big thing to go 1 point up. So I don't want to minimize that, but I didn't see enough for this unit to bump into A when I finally looked at this. This is still a very good unit though, and I think you're going to be happy with this unit if you have her. Here's the tier list so far, and B tier is just amazing units. All of these units have very solid use cases and excel in multiple areas. If you have these units built up, you're very happy with them, and you know why they're here, so I don't need to go into that, but they are not elite like the next tier. The next tier specifically sits well in the meta right now and performs multiple roles in that. We're going to get into A tier though, and all of these are units that you build teams around. These are, you know what, I can talk about this. Let's just jump in. Valentine's Myrrh is a really interesting unit to have here, and what can I say? The fact that she has Warp Bubble and gives it to another teammate is very, very powerful in the meta. You add on to that the fact that she's also a very good tank, and there are a lot of good things happening there for her. She is very counter meta right now, and I don't see that changing. I think that probably has a lot of staying power. Honestly, the thing that's keeping her from going into S tier is simply the fact that you have that half a turn where Warp Bubble isn't taking effect. So any of your player phase teams can still activate on turn 1 and be just fine. But I mean, there's not a lot you can ask for in addition to what this unit does. This unit is incredible. Let's look at it quick. So we have a combat of 15 because I do think this unit is a solid savior and tank right now. I've seen this unit just absolutely demolish traditional teams because of how much they depend on warping. And support I have as a 14 here because, again, Warp Bubble is just so good. As far as your best friends for this unit, I've got up here Catria and Igrene. Really, Catria represents a whole sort of the Catria ball, or sometimes just the unit ball defenses that this unit does so well with, by making sure that you just don't get a free win and you have to force a play on turn 1 for any kind of player phase teams, as well as being a really, really good far save. Defenses just absolutely love Myrrh right now. Probably the best savior in the game if you average across every mode. This unit is also great in summoner duels, and the fact that warping is so big there, I can't say enough of how big warping is a part of the meta. You guys know this though, like you know how big this is and how big Warp Bubble in general. When you look at units that benefit the most from Myrrh, you have in summoner duels units like Catria, and those kind of teams really benefit from having any sort of warp inhibiting movement that keeps units from just absolutely being able to run over them. As far as Aether Raids goes, on defense is where I like her the best. In any kind of cav line, it means that the team just isn't a free win for any sort of player phase teams. You have to force a turn 1 on them, and that can sometimes be tougher for a lot of those player phase teams. As far as counterplay goes, she is absolutely amazing versus Elincia especially. Elincia is just the preeminent warping goddess right now. And then of course you have Edelgard, who is the best player phase unit in the game. And the fact that you stop her from moving 3 spaces, even though she can still move 2, is still very, very powerful. Again, this unit is great against the meta, and I am a big fan. This is a unit that you want at least 1 copy of in your barracks. Then we have Fallen Veyle, and Fallen Veyle is Veyle, but with the addition of Scowl on a follow-up hit. That's amazing, especially for units like Ike, because of course Ike has to get stronger in some way. I don't even know. Anyway, this unit is incredible, and the fact that she is blessable means you can use her in a lot of different places. There's another thing to be said for this unit hits harder. So you have got a unit that supports better and hits harder, and basically this is just better Veyle. As far as the ratings go, 14 combat, 15 support. This unit is just solid. This unit likes to be around any tanks. They all just love her, period. There's probably something to be said about having this unit in a Catria ball, but really the place you're going to want to be using her with is raid bosses and tanks. They love her. As far as counterplay, you're looking for units that offer special reduction, and she really helps against those kind of teams. And we already talked about Ike. This has all the same relationships as regular Veyle. This is Veyle, but better. I mean, I've said it before, but that's what we've got here. There is something to be said for the possibility that this unit might take a hit because we've gotten so many Scowl effects, but I just don't see it. Like, this is Askr, but ranged, and with a duo button that gives an additional cooldown. It's really hard for me to see this and say, yeah, this unit is getting old. That's not good anymore. All of those things are excellent. I'm a big fan of this unit. If you invested in this unit, you are probably still very happy with them, and you're even more happy that Lagoo's Friend 4 came out, because that skill was made for Duo Askr. No kidding. There's not much else I can say. You've got Resonant Blades, Resonant Shields. We've already talked about how good that is. Flat damage reduction is amazing. Let's look at the ratings. As far as combat goes, this unit is not going to just knock the tires off of something, but this unit hits hard enough, especially if you have something like Lagoo's Friend 4 and Ignis running on them. But the support at 16 is very high, and for good reason. There are so many teams that want to be friends with this guy. Any of your tanks that need additional cooldown for things like godlike reflexes, any of your AoE Gale Force or regular Gale Force teams, any of your hit and run teams, this unit is good for a lot of different things. And the units that this unit is good against is, again, that tip of the spear, the bulkiest unit on the team. You are helping your team take that unit out by getting that special ready and having additional stats as well. I am a big fan of Duo Askr. I don't see him dropping off anytime soon, but I could be wrong. Maybe they just hand out Scowl to everything and we decide that specials are no longer good. But I doubt that's happening. We've seen a drop off with Legendary Hinoka recently, and that is true. I'm not going to argue with that. But the fact is she was so high up there that even a drop keeps her in A tier and solidly in A tier. Charge is just very, very good, and this unit hits hard enough. The sweep effect is very good, even though NCD is becoming more common. I'm a fan of all that this unit does. The icing on the cake, though, is that special cooldown charge +1. That is really fantastic. That extra breath effect that you have is excellent against a lot of different kinds of units. And I mean, we've talked about it, but things like getting specials ready sooner just doesn't get old. So this unit makes you move further and hit harder. That's what you want in a support. I mean, those are two very good things. Check and check. Let's look at the ratings. So I've got this unit as a 15 and a 15. There might be an argument to be made that 15 is still high, but I'm probably going to keep that up there until NCD comes out in a drive form. And we've talked about that. That's probably coming, but still. As far as the best friends of this unit, flyers. Like, that's the one thing about this unit is it only gives charge to other flyers. The thing is, we have such amazing flyers right now. I mean, just up here, I have Duo Thorr, Legendary Camilla, and Duo Seiðr. Those are amazing units. So as long as we keep getting flyers that are that good, Legendary Hinoka is going to be an excellent support. The biggest counterplay, I mean, the fact that terrain no longer matters with charge is huge and absolutely changes some of these maps. I mean, we saw flyer lines and some very creative uses of those. We saw some crazy summoner duels teams. If you look at Arena, this unit is absolutely amazing there if you've got a lot of flyers, which most of you do. I'm a huge fan of everything this unit does, and I love her. Here we have the new kid on the block, and I am admitting that this might be too soon to have this unit this high, but here's the thing that I keep coming back to. He gives Essence Drain to units within 2 spaces, so this doesn't necessarily have to be the unit that's initiating. The other thing is, even if the unit with Essence Drain dies, you still steal all the opponent's bonuses and give them to the rest of your team. That is insanely powerful, especially because the last year and a half, IS has done nothing but pile on bonus effect after bonus effect after bonus effect. Think about all the stupid, crazy sham showcases with 60 different effects on Chrom. Are those over-exaggerated? Absolutely yes. But you can still do that because they've given us so many bonuses. So I think this unit is incredibly valuable in a lot of different modes. The only one that I don't like him in, honestly, is Aetherraid's offense. And I can't seem to find a way to get him in there, but I'm sure somebody will. This unit is good in a lot of different things. Let's look at the ratings here. As far as the combat, I've got a 14, and that's probably my knock. We do have some really, really good daunts on this unit, but once you get into that 15 and beyond range, you're really talking about being able to take out the biggest, baddest unit on the opponent's team, and this unit is not that. The support of 16, I mean, that's basically saying that this unit has just as good a support as Duo Askr. That's how high I am on this unit. I think this unit is a lot of fun, and we're going to see some really interesting things with him. All right, now we're getting into some of the incredibly powerful units, and Hortensia is fascinating to me. This unit just does so much. I mean, in inflicting panic and discord and giving Canto 1 and neutralizing penalties, this unit does a ton with just glittering anima. The only thing holding this unit back is this is a healer, and she just doesn't work as a nuke. That limits where you can put her, but this is still a really good unit, and the ratings are going to show that out. As a support, I've got her ranked as an 18, which is incredibly high. I am that high on this unit. This is in pure support, this is one of the best supports in the game. The combat is at 11 though, and that's, again, role compression. You have other units that are at 18 that also have good combat. So that's going to be something that hinders her just a bit, but any tank is going to love this unit. And in particular, those teams where she doesn't have to do as much. The fact that a lot of her effects are within 3 spaces, like the healing that she has, is another great thing about her. But looking at counterplay, I've got dual Lyon, and this goes back to the definition of counterplay. You can get units to survive dual Lyon. That is the thing. The issue really is whoever comes next. The fact that you can get healing from this unit means that whoever is taking those hits can recharge for whoever's coming next, and makes it much easier to deal with units like dual Lyon. Again, that's what makes her so powerful. I am so disappointed that I was unable to get this unit on her release, and I can't wait for her to come back. So this unit is just the poster child for role compression, because this is a premier nuke right now. With her, the ability for her to get AoEs is really, really good, and it's one of the few things helping us take out Emblem Ike. When we look at the other things she does, giving 1 extra movement to infantry and armored units is phenomenal. The fact that they also ignore terrain there is just icing on the cake. Keep in mind that the thing that separates cav nukes from infantry nukes is range. Infantry nukes, as far as skill inheritance goes, are flat out better than cavs. They have so many more options, but they don't have the range until this unit comes along. That is phenomenal. You add on the harmonic skill and, Resonant Blades, Treachery, and Desperation. That is something that won't be able to be used on every unit, but it's still very good, especially if you need a little extra oomph from Igrene. Looking at the ratings, the combat is the thing that really sticks out to you. A 17 means you're actually going to be able to take some of the meta nukes out, like the Byleths, and in a lot of cases, Emblem Ike. This unit is phenomenal. The support is very good. 14 is high, but it's not as high as the combat there. It's the combination of the two that makes this such a valuable unit. Any sort of infantry nuke is going to love being next to this team, and the biggest thing that this counters is, we talked about those range wars, and being able to add additional range to units is always good, but also ignoring terrain is something that is very, very powerful. This unit has a lot of different uses and will probably be around for a while. I think Legendary Elincia was very good when she came out, and that's probably selling her short. Like, she is an excellent unit, but having access to no quarter took her combat from here to here. Like, it's an excellent special on her, and really took her to a whole other level. We've talked about warping, and she gives no follow-up as well, but the warping to any unit is so powerful with Elincia, and I cannot say enough good things about it. We have seen so many ways that they've kind of tried to stifle warping, and none of them have really worked. I think this unit allows for a lot of creative play. Looking at the ratings, that 17 combat pops out, and this is brave hits that a lot of the times you're getting desperation with, so that's 4 in a row, which means generally you can proc 2 no quarters at a time with the right support, and that's incredible. The support is 15. Again, we talked about the ability to warp around and how powerful that is, and this is a really fun unit, and I think this is a unit worth investing in if you are looking for a wind legendary. As far as this unit's friends, I still have infantry nukes as her best friend, and the reason is cavs generally have other ways to get range, whereas warping is the biggest way to give infantry nukes range. But the other thing that's something that we overlook is the fact that this also helps out your Farsave armors a ton. When we look at counterplay, the reason I've got these big tanks up here, these are all infantry Omni tanks. One of the big ways that you take care of them is that you get around them and take out their supports. That is really important as a tactic. So keep that in mind whenever you're building defenses, and this is a unit that helps you with that a ton. You skip Ike altogether and you jump behind him to get who's ever standing there. This is a fantastic one. Spring Chloe is the unit that I struggled with the most. Putting her here is an interesting thing because you don't see her as much in the meta, and honestly I think everyone spent so much time investing in the legendary Hinoka that they just didn't make the switch, and I think there are pieces of this unit that are honestly just a lot better than legendary Hinoka, the biggest of which is charge to everyone. That's a huge difference from just flyers. That extends a lot of other units' range, including some of your far saves. Like that is kind of a phenomenal thing. The other thing is, this can be done at a distance if units are in a support pair partnership. That is a thing that is slept on, and being able to not just get units that are within 2 spaces of you, but to get units that are across the map is insanely powerful. The additional damage reduction is good, but the fact that this unit also can hit very hard with piercing, there are a lot of great things about this unit. You add in a harmonic skill, which adds in 2 cooldown and can help AoE nukes, and you've got an incredibly powerful unit. Now, she doesn't have the brave hits that Elincia does, so I've still got her combat ranked into 15. This unit can still hit very hard though. Supported to 16 though is just excellent, and this unit is a lot of fun to use. Any sort of hit and run team loves this. Any of your melee nukes that can extend their range love this unit. This is a fantastic unit to have for specific terrains in summoner duels, and what can I say? This unit is fantastic to have on your team, and I think is being slept on by a lot of folks. Now, in stark contrast, Duo Seiðr is being slept on by no one. I want you to notice that the wall of text was so big that I couldn't stack up the skills, and I had to push one over to the side. Like, this is a lot of effects on this unit. This unit can hit very hard, in a lot of cases can have a brave attack. This unit can end turns, and this unit has a duo skill that allows you to warp around the map in crazy fashion. This unit just has everything you could possibly want, as well as a lot of flexibility in the way you want to build her. This is one of the few units that I say you can make this unit a merge project, because I don't see this unit getting bad for a very long time. I think this unit will have staying power in a lot of different modes. Let's look at the ratings quick, and again, because of that brave effect, I've got a 17 in combat. I've seen this unit do some crazy things, including take out the Byliths, and I was just absolutely amazed. Support is a 16. There does require some setup in order to end the turn of other units. It's a little harder than Dual Lyon, which, to be frank, is probably good for the game, but as far as the power level of this unit, knocks them down just a bit. That's why this is a 16 and not much higher. But any sort of team loves having Seiðr on them. Your Omni tanks, your Summoner Duels teams, your Gale Force teams, your hit and run teams, your arena teams, all of them. They all love Duo Seiðr. As long as you can get her set up, you will be very, very happy that you have her on your team, and she hits hard. She offers counterplay to basically any action economy type units. Your dancers, your refreshers, all of those. This is the unit that helps combat those. And we don't have a lot of that. There has been a lot of cases where basically you just stack up teams with as many actions as possible, and that includes Gale Force teams and Aether Raids. That includes a lot of Aether Raids defense teams now are trying to do that in order to get as far a range as they can, because that lets you sneak behind units like Ike that we just talked about. You already know that she's fantastic, so I'm going to stop gushing right there, and we're going to look at the tier list as a whole. Here's where we're at. This is all the way up until A tier. And I mean, A tier is, again, these are key pieces to any teams. These are elite units in multiple roles and important units to to your barracks. If it's at all possible, you would like a copy of each of these. Now, what we have so far are units that make key pieces to teams. The difference in S tier is going to be these are key units that you have to build teams against. And that is a key discriminator. Let's get into it. What is there to say about Legendary Camilla that hasn't been said? This is a premier nuke and really brought burn damage to the forefront. But on top of that, also hands out piercing as a bonus. I cannot tell you how good that is. Like, that is absolutely amazing. This unit does a great job debuffing the enemy. On top of that, the fact that her preference skill is in the B slot means that you still have all of the great flyer shenanigans that you can do in the C slot with soaring guidance and any kind of crux skills or anything like that. Or you could just stick with Deadly Miasma, because at base kit, this unit does a lot of things and is a ton of fun. So, fantastic combat unit, fantastic nuke. Let's look at the ratings. I've got her as 18 in combat and 18 in support. This is very, very high. And the thing is, any unit wants to be friends with this unit. Any unit wants to be on a team with someone who gives piercing and is also a strong nuke. I mean, that's just it. Flyers already have such great support potential, and this is just adding to it. This unit pairs well with Gale Force initiators and any sort of nuke and any sort of tank, because piercing is just that good. As far as the big counterplay, I mean, any tanks this unit is really fantastic against. Providing piercing against someone like Brave Corrin is just critical. That unit has a ton of pierceable DR that something like Camilla's support can help a ton versus. But again, we talked about this, but also helping older units versus some of the newer nukes that have damage reduction built in. It's so critical, and it's something that you absolutely have to have if you're gonna function, because you have to be able to take out a unit so they can't stick around and try to kill you again. Someone like Dual Lyon, if they get 2 hits on you, I mean, it's just over. So I'm a huge fan of Camilla, and she just goes well with every single unit. This next one hurt me a lot, and this is Dual Lyon, and I mean, this unit is a fantastic support, and it pains me. The fact that you can end another unit's action is the ultimate in support. I mean, that basically you are taking whatever unit that he hits out, and then whatever unit is behind that unit. There are so many modes and gameplay styles that helps versus. On top of all that, you have this duo skill that's just absolutely ridiculous, where it can end the turn of everyone in a line or end the turn for next turn. I mean, this unit is ridiculous and is one of the premier units that you have to worry about right now. As far as the ratings goes, it's hard not to give this unit a 20, because I think this unit hits harder than any unit in the game right now. And of course that's going to change, and I'm terrified of what that looks like, but as of now, this is the premier nuke. When you build a unit, the first thing you wonder is, does this unit survive Dual Lyon? A lot of times that answer is no, and because of that, again, have to rank him very high. The support, we talked about it, but ending another unit's action is just incredibly valuable. As far as the friends of this unit, any unit that extends this unit's range is phenomenal. And the other funny thing is, this unit is its own support. This is a situation where you're going in there, you are probably taking out a unit, and you're ending the action of another unit. This unit is the anti-dancer. So while this unit doesn't always take out Ike, if you equip this unit with Fatal Smoke 4, it means that Ike isn't healing. And that's a big deal. I've certainly seen Altina configurations that are very invested that can take out Lyon pretty easily, but by and large, he takes out most of those too. The same goes with the Byleths. Like, if this unit is built right, that means this unit is running roughshod over most tanks, and this unit is honestly a pretty good investment. With a duo skill, that means you're going to be able to use this unit in arena for a long time as well, which is terrifying. So, this evil villain is here to stay for a while and is one of the best supports in the game, as much as I hate to admit it. But he's not the best, and that honor goes to Duo Robin. I am in love with this unit because of all the things we talked about with every other refresher in this list here. But this unit does it better. This unit has a fantastic way of molding themselves to any team and raising their level. It's really... Hush Spectrum all on its own is fantastic, right? I mean, that's this whole scowl effect that we've been talking about throughout this entire thing, and it's inflicting that on opponents. The thing is that using that skill is what helps you go up against units like Ike, who just depend on specials. Using Hush Spectrum means that you can take out Emblem Ikes fairly easily with this unit because Ike isn't going to be able to proc Great Ether. Unless, of course, young Robin is in the building, and that's a different counter altogether, though. This unit can rally your team if you want to and add an extra action there, can reposition and then have another action as well, all the while through both of those debuffing the enemy team with Scowl. That is incredibly powerful, and we have seen how well units like this age. You can look no further than Chrom. Dual Chrom is still good to this day, years later. Dual Robin is going to follow suit. The one thing I will say that Dual Chrom has is the weird score bump, because to change fate scored higher than anything else. Even with that though, this is one of the few units that I would say if you wanted to merge this unit, you would be happy for years to come. So Robin and Chrom enthusiasts, you've won again with easily one of the best units in the game right now. And in my opinion, the best support unit in all of Fire Emblem Heroes. So here is the full list, and we need to talk about just a few other things. Understand that the idea that support units age better than nukes is absolutely false. The thing that ages well is unique units. I want you to keep that in mind whenever you're searching for new supports or even new Omni tanks or new nukes. Unique is what stays good for longer. Keep that in mind. It's one of the reasons why I like Dual Robin, because there are so many unique pieces about them. The pseudo refresher status, along with the Hush Spectrum, along with there are just a lot of fun things about how that unit works. It's also why Dual Lyon is probably going to be good for a very long time, even past the time when he is a premier nuke. But you can also see that play out all the way down at Medius's level, where Medius is arguably a terrible, terrible unit. But because of On Guard, that unit has stayed relevant, which is crazy. Everything about that unit is terrible except that one very unique thing. So as far as investments goes, that's what you need to look for. If you stuck with me this long, then you are absolutely amazing, and thank you guys so much. I've got a Gale Force video out that you might want to check out. It's another deep dive that I had a ton of fun with. Let me know if you like the longer format or if I need to go back to the shorter. I would love to hear that in the comments. Members, you are amazing. Thank you for all you do. Thank you so much, and take care, and schedule an appointment with your Fehology real soon.